Welcome to the Inside Track on Real Estate with the Dekker Team. And I'm Ken Dekker. And today I've got Mark Granada again with me. Mark is a realtor on the Dekker Team. And we're going to talk about the 6 trade-up mistakes. Trade-up, what are we talking about when we say trade-up? Like we want to avoid these mistakes, obviously. But what's a trade-up? What's that mean?
A trade-up is essentially when a homeowner who already owns a house or condo is looking to either upsize or downsize their property and buy another property. So there's all sorts of things that come into play as far as having to sell your home and at the same time shop for a new one.
Okay, and then we use the word trade, but typically we're not trading. Like typically the house we're buying, the person that isn't at home isn't buying the other person.
No, there's no swap my home.
Although I've done that.
You've done that.
It's very, very rare.
Yeah, so maybe, yes, sure. There's are some exceptions, but definitely trading up means I guess like upgrading. So you would give up your house to the market, and then you'd buy something from the market.
I know, like trading your car in and getting a bigger one.
There you go.
But instead we have to sell it.
Yeah.
Because there's nobody, typically there aren't people that are taking your house on trade. Although I've had people with bigger houses that were hard to sell, and somebody said, oh, I have a house to sell. They go, well, what's your house? I might buy it. Because they find it easier to sell a lower price house than their big one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's that. So 6 trade-up mistakes to avoid. So number 1, rose-colored glasses. Now, some people like rose-colored glasses.
Yes, some do, definitely. Certain 60s glasses, I think, were rose-colored. But yes, sometimes buyers, especially people that haven't been on the market for a while, have kind of lost a bit of touch with what a property is worth nowadays. And when they're looking to purchase a home, they often look at something that is to their taste, but their wallet might not agree with what they're looking at. So what we equip our customers with is a home hunting service, basically a program that allows you to enter. We take all your criteria, mm-hmm. And the geography that you're looking at, and configure the system to do an automatic search for all the properties that match your criteria.
Right.
And it'll be sent to you automatically. So you're constantly updated on what the market is offering for your price range. So we don't get too ambitious. At the same time, we don't look at the properties that are below your budget.
Okay, so that can remove the rose-colored glasses because you start to become very educated on what the market value of properties are. Clear-colored glasses. Now you can wear your reading glasses if necessary to read the computer. Yeah, okay. And so that's really great. And so what it does is it helps to solidify the difference between a dream of owning a particular home and the reality of what we can own. Yeah. And sometimes they match.
Takes a dream and creates a plan.
Yeah. Okay.
Of action.
Okay.
Yeah. Definitely.
Great. Okay. And the number 2 thing to avoid is failing to make the necessary improvements or maintenance to the property that we currently own.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Well, a lot of homeowners have either personalized or sometimes neglected some things in their home to suit themselves. Mm-hmm. But the mistake is that a lot of homeowners say, well, let the next buyer take care of those issues if they want. My home is selling for this much and I want to sell it as is, and I don't want to deal with the issues I should have taken care of before, or I don't want to make it marketable to tons of people. I just want it to be marketable to people that have my needs. Well, instead of catering to thousands and thousands of people, your home is catering to a few dozen. So it would be really, really wise to do the types of repairs, do the types of improvements, as long as you can afford them and you're being financially responsible, to make sure that your home appeals to the highest or biggest audience out there.
And sometimes people say, well, I've upgraded my home, and really what they've done is they've done maintenance. You know, the carpet was worn out, so they put new carpeting. That's not really an upgrade. It's you maintained your home.
Yeah, I changed my roof. That's a renovation. It's not a renovation. That's a responsible maintenance that you did.
Right.
Yeah.
And if we have too much delayed maintenance, it can actually significantly, like you say, reduce the number of people that are willing to look at the property, but also significantly reduce the offers. Because what I've found, I don't know about you, but I've found that when a buyer's walking through a home and let's say the carpet's worn out and it needs new carpet or it needs hardwood flooring, they will quite often exaggerate the cost to do that upgrade or maintenance or repair greater than what it really does cost.
Yeah.
And so now, you know, $1,000 maintenance item, they're taking $5,000 off the purchase price because.
Good point. Good point. That's often what buyers, just human nature, they tend to, their imaginations go wild with how much it would cost out of fear, basically. They're not, the unknown creates fear, and fear creates security. So you want to secure yourself with as much padding as possible between the real cost and the what you imagine to be the cost. Often a good solution when my sellers say, well, I really can't afford to change my carpet, and I really can't afford to repaint my house. Sometimes what I say is get an estimate in writing from a supplier and say, hey, if you want to negotiate $2,000 to repaint my house, I got a guy that's willing to do it. So you can just negotiate that $2,000 from me rather than paint the whole house yourself for $2,000. It just eliminates the fear and unknown and the exaggeration of the cost.
Right.
And they are armed with something to negotiate on a logical sense.
Yeah, that's wise. And I know recently we just sold a property, conditionally sold it, but it was only in the market for like 3 days, and we had 3 offers on it, and it sold, you know, a little over asking. And the reason being, all these people have been looking for a home. This home, the homeowner had owned it for 26 years from brand new and had meticulously maintained it and upgraded it regularly. So it was like you would walk in and you go, there's nothing to do here. And so people are willing, there's more people willing to buy a home that there's absolutely nothing to do or one that needs maintenance and upgrading and painting and decorating and all that. There's fewer people that want that home. And so not only do they buy it for less because of the delayed maintenance, but they buy it for less because there aren't as many people that are interested in it. It's a supply and demand kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's cool. All right, so talk to me about not selling first. It's the third mistake to avoid, because and I find that some people will go out and find their dream home, and then they get caught where they want to buy it, but they haven't sold their home. And then usually the dream home is the one that's the dream home for a bunch of other people too. So they want it. And if their home's sold, they buy it and you lose out. So talk to me about this mistake of not selling a house first.
Well, just to be clear to the audience out there that if you're looking to trade up or upgrade your property, you are essentially shopping for a property. But while you're shopping, it would be good to expose your property to the market. Because when you find what you want and you make an offer, well, you don't want the fact that your house is not even on the market to go against you as far as the negotiation is concerned. When you make an offer conditional to selling your property, the seller would like to see the attractiveness or marketability of your property and how fast, because they're concerned about how fast it's going to close.
Right.
So by putting your property on the market, you can talk intelligently to the seller about the activity that's happening on your market, on your property. So you can say, we've had 10 visits in 7 days. We have a couple of interested people. There seems to be some healthy activity on the property. I don't think it's going to be too much of a it'll take too much time to be able to sell the property. Mm-hmm. But if you're not on the market, you don't have those activities to talk about. Right. So it's wait and see for everybody. So they get nervous, and of course they kind of beat you up on the price of their home and inflate it because they don't want to be waiting 60, 90 days for a property that has no activity.
Yeah, and plus if you haven't put your home on the market, it could take, 3, 5, 10 days to get it ready and get it photography of it, get it up on the system and get it marketed. So we've lost a week or a week and a half of time.
Yeah.
Which can be crucial.
Yeah, for your dream home hanging in the balance, time is really essential, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Now, I have run into some people that say, we're looking for a very specific home. We've been looking for, or we're going to be looking for, it could be a year. We've looked the last couple of years just lightly, watching for something to come up. We haven't seen anything. Now we're really actively looking, and we don't want to sell our house until we find the right house. Mm-hmm. And so then we've got to make sure that there's a couple things in play. One is that the market's strong enough that we're pretty sure we could sell their house. 2, that they're financially able to carry 2 homes for a significant amount of time if they had to. And 3, that the banks will loan them money on both homes. Right?
Got it. Yeah.
And sometimes the issue is, maybe they don't owe that much on this house, or they can afford both, but they got to come up with the down payment on the second one. Because if there's a difference between bridge financing and owning 2 homes. And bridge financing is when you've sold your house and you're buying another house, but you want to close on this one a week or a month earlier than this one sells, but you got a firm sale on this.
Yeah.
The bank says, okay, that's a bridge finance. For the month, you can carry the extra interest. We're good with that. We'll loan all the money for this one, and you pay the interest. And then when it closes, this one closes, you get your money.
Exactly.
The bank gets their money, their down payment and everything. But holding 2 houses is a totally different thing than bridge financing, because you're saying to the bank, I want to qualify for both without having this one sold yet.
Exactly. Right? So you're essentially owning 2 homes, 2 mortgages, and 2 commitments. To the financial institution. So they want to make sure that you can carry and afford those monthly payments on both homes. Even though your plan is to sell one,
right?
There's a great difference between bridge, where I have a document closing on one property and a proof of a closing on one property, and I'm buying another one for that short period, and holding 2 mortgages at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I can also understand where someone's looking for a very particular type of property, whether it be country, land, waterfront, whatever, and they don't want to sell theirs and be homeless, because that becomes the issue, right? You sell it, you're homeless, and now you got to go buy another house. The other thing is, if you buy it, like you said, where it's conditional on the sale of your property, generally you're going to pay more for the house you're buying.
Yeah.
Because your offer is not as attractive as one that we call a cash offer, which means we don't have a house to sell. So sometimes what I'll recommend is, okay, here's the market for your house. Let's say it's $400,000, and here's the price of the one you're buying. It's $600,000, but we can get $10,000 off or $20,000 off if we're cash. So we'll go in cash with a longer closing, and we'll drop the price of yours. The market's $400,000, but let's put it at $380,000 or something, and it's going to sell quickly because it's well below market value. You made it up on the other side, but it facilitates moving up, right? So there's a lot of different strategies. Yeah. So that's a fun one. And really it's a personal one. It's one we want to spend time one-on-one talking with the buyer of the new property and the seller of the old property. We want to talk one-on-one with their family and really point out the risks. The risks of going one way, the risks of doing it the other way, getting in touch with their bank and pre-qualifying and all of that, having all their ducks in a row, so to speak, so they can make an intelligent decision. Because I've seen people get trapped where they're stuck
Yeah, and this is where our relationships with banks and with lenders is really important, because we can have an honest conversation about what is not only what they qualify for, but what they are comfortable with. Mm-hmm. Because we don't only own homes, we have vacations, we have children's education, so we don't want to be too suffocated with our home expenses and not thinking about our other life expenses.
Because then that dream home becomes a nightmare.
Got it.
And we don't want that.
Good point.
Yeah, so if you're just joining us, you're listening to the Inside Track on Real Estate with the Dekker Team, and I'm having a conversation with Mark Granada, a member of the Dekker Team, and we're discussing the 6 trade-up mistakes to avoid when upgrading or downgrading your home, because sometimes people are, when I say downgrading, it's really more resizing. Yeah, right-sizing. Right? As family dynamics change, sometimes, children move out, whatever happens, we need a smaller home or a home that doesn't have stairs or whatever. There's lots of things that change in people's lifestyle that says the home that I was living in that met my family's needs for a while now doesn't meet them as well as another home would. Mm-hmm. And so it's time to move. Yeah. So trap number 4 to avoid is failing to get pre-approved.
Mm-hmm. Yes, this is something that can be a real stumbling block for a lot of people that say to themselves, well, I'm going to go shopping first. Mm-hmm. I don't want to talk to a bank until I actually find something I like. Then I'm going to go to the bank. Well, that's kind of putting the carriage before the horse in a sense that you gotta know. I tell buyers all the time, at least know what is in your wallet before you go shopping. So that way, and it doesn't mean, like we covered earlier, just because the bank approves you for X amount, it doesn't mean that you have to buy at that amount. The bank, according to their own criteria, feels that they're comfortable with lending you this much. But you have to think about your own personal situation and buy a home. Discuss the monthly payments of what that would look like, and buy a home that fits within your own comfortable budget. But always get a pre-approval with a bank with a lender before you hit the streets and start shopping for homes.
Yeah, and I'm finding that lenders are getting more and more particular about what they want before they give you the green light to go ahead and buy a house. Like even if you bought it conditional on the financing, now they want letters from employers, they want pay stubs, they want proof that your taxes were paid, they want, so on and so forth. And if you can get that out of the way before you even buy a house, that's phenomenal, because that's a true pre-approval. Mm-hmm. There is another way they do it is you just phone them and you say, okay, I owe this, I make this amount of money, and they go, okay, you're qualified to a certain amount. But that's not really a pre-approval. Mm-hmm. So they haven't done a credit bureau on you, they haven't gotten all the supporting documents. And if you get all that out of the way, it makes shopping for a house so much nicer.
Yeah, a real pre-approval, just to be really clear, is an approval only conditional upon an accepted offer and the listing information.
Yeah, so, and them liking the house that it met, the value's there for them.
The value is there.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a big one. And like you said, they can go to a bank, they can go to other lenders, or they can go to a mortgage broker. It doesn't really matter. I find mortgage brokers are excellent. Sometimes I go straight to the bank. It really depends on the type of property, my lending situation, all of that. The important part is to get in front of someone that's a professional, that does this for a living. Not like, even if I go to a bank, I don't want to talk to a teller who's covering for the mortgage specialist who's not there this week.
Excellent point.
Right?
Yeah.
I want to make sure the person I'm talking to is a mortgage specialist, because they know what they're doing, they know what they require, and they're going to make sure that all your ducks are in a row. And if you don't do that, you could be struggling.
And like real estate experts, they can foresee problems before they happen.
Yes.
So they don't become problems.
Yes. So. Even I was talking with someone the other day. They were going, well, we want to sell our house and buy a a house with some land, 50, 60, 80, 100 acres. And I said, okay, great. How much down payment do you have? And they're going like, well, why do you want to know how much down payment I have? Well, because the bank's going to only appraise out the house on 3 acres, 5 acres, and the surplus acreage, they're not going to loan on it. So basically, you got to have the cash to buy what they say the value of the extra land is, plus your down payment on the value of the house and the couple acres. And so a lot of people don't see that trap coming, right? And going to the bank, and when you do your pre-approval or the mortgage broker, make sure you tell them, we're looking for a property with 50 acres, not we're looking for a property in the city, on a half acre or a quarter acre or a 40-foot lot or something. Big difference in the lending practice and the type of lender that wants to lend on that property. Because there's certain lenders, they don't want to lend on country property at all. So that's one of the places where a mortgage broker comes in handy, because they know which lenders like which type of properties.
Good point.
Yeah. All right. So here's number 5, getting caught in the trap of the guaranteed sale program that some of the realtors are offering.
Okay.
Guaranteed. Talk to us about guaranteed sale program.
Well, the guaranteed sale program is a fantastic way for a lot of realtors to generate leads. They get their phones ringing, and it's a very high impact solicitation for basically, it seems to offer the client the option of the realtor himself buying their house if their property doesn't sell in time, or if they buy that realtor's listing.
Yeah, I've seen those signs on the houses. It says, buy this home and we'll buy yours for cash, or whatever it says. That kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, it is actually, it can happen very rarely, but it's important for the audience to know that there are tons of conditions associated with these type of offers. The realtor will, the guaranteed price that he's offering on your property is going to be often 20, sometimes 30% below the real value, the market value of your property.
Oh, that low, eh?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah, and even if it is just 10% below the market value, that is something that you could possibly gain from the market in a traditional type of sale, instead of going into these type of gimmicks, I would say, to get their phones to ring. But don't really serve you in the long run, or at least don't end up being what they appear to be. So
more costly than they might appear.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Because anytime someone's going to give you a guaranteed sale, they're going to make sure it's below market.
Yeah.
Because they have to either take that property on and rent it or keep it, or they got to turn around and sell it, and they don't want to lose a ton of money on selling it.
Yep.
That's it. Okay. So great. Number 6, failing to coordinate closings and inspections. Talk to me about that.
Yeah. Well, with the process of buying a property and selling a property, there are certain dates, and the orchestration of those dates and where they fall on is extremely important for the home seller, who is also a home buyer. So you want to make sure that you're able to close on one property and get the keys for the next property in such a sequence that you're not homeless, like some people are scared of. And you want to make sure that everything falls within a certain sequence. And this is where your realtor comes into the picture, and make sure that with his experience and understanding of the contracts, that he can make this happen smoothly and succinctly, so that all you're worried about is, what size boxes to pack your your clothes in and things like that. So that's what it is.
So there's a coordination of inspections, insurance inspections, getting insurance, sometimes appraisal inspections.
Yeah, getting an experts as a result of what came out in the inspection report.
Right. Yeah. And I think closings, Many times people want the closing to be on the same day. So they want to sell their property and buy the other one. And what they're putting themselves through is a very, very stressful day. Because typically they're spending, the day before or 2 days before, they're going to the lawyer to sign documents, hand in keys and whatever. Then they come back to their house and they've got to empty their house typically that morning, right? They start packing. They put everything in a truck. Maybe they've hired some help, but a lot of times it's just friends. And they're filling up a truck or a van. Many times they misjudge how big a truck they need. And so they can't get everything in. And now they're going, uh-oh. And they don't have keys for the next house yet. They can't empty it. And they're stuck. Or they haven't had time to clean the house before the new people get their keys. And so it's very, very stressful to do a same-day move. People do it because it's cost-effective, right? But I like, if people can, I love to do bridge financing. Take a week or two, get into the new house, have the painter in or paint or clean or do whatever you want so that you can move your stuff in appropriately, right? Your house is ready to go. You maybe have a week to move. And you can take your time, you can move your breakables, your valuables and stuff carefully.
And you might be able to, if you get the keys ahead of time for the next property, you can prepare that property. Because often the seller might not have had the time to clean and definitely not paint. So that's a good way to advise the clients to make sure everything goes smooth.
And and sometimes people have made same day moves locally, but then they're buying remotely. They're buying in Toronto or Hamilton or something and moving from Ottawa, and they don't realize that they can't do a simultaneous close because the money can't get from their closing to Toronto in the same day. There just isn't enough time. So they run into issues with closing that property, and then you're into a problem with, the sellers are upset because it didn't close on time. They got to close on another property. You create all kinds of havoc. So I'm a big, big fan of couple-day spread. And then if there's any hiccup, you're fine. There's no problems. Yeah, so we love to guide people through this process. It can be a very, very stressful process. And that's why getting an experienced realtor on your side is amazing. And I think we said earlier, you've got 14 years of experience.
Yes.
And you're bilingual. And the Dekker team, Yetta's got 27 years. I've got 22 years. Everyone else is 6 or 8 or whatever. So there's a lot of experience to draw on from the Dekker team. Yeah. So if you've got a need to move or a desire to move, hire a professional. Give the Dekker team a call at 613-860-4663. That's 613-860-HOME, H-O-M-E, if you want to spell it out so you can remember it. And we'd love to help you, guide you with expertise, experience, and wisdom. Thanks for joining us on the Inside Track on Real Estate with the Dekker team. Bye for now. What you wanna do? Well, man, it's on you.